Today we focus on nation building and social cohesion. The founders of the new South Africa envisioned a nation united in diversity, and it's this vision that led late struggle stalwart Desmond Tutu to come up with the concept of a rainbow nation. Apartheid, a policy that divided us, has been dismantled. However, we remain divided. My colleague Gareth Edwards joins us live now from Freedom Park in Pretoria to continue this conversation. And Gareth, quite an important one to have. I alluded earlier on that just from what Donald Paddy had to say, it's going to take a lot more than a flag to unite South Africans. There need to be conversations, there need to be systems that need to be, eradicated. So to open up access to the economy in South Africa for all South Africans and all who live in it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more in terms of off the back of you speaking to Donald Paddy a little bit earlier. Is a flag really what we need? If we had to open up a book on the problems in South Africa, there are many successes. Let's not forget that there have been many successes. But if you opened up the problems that we have as a country in a book and you got to the final chapter, often books will look at what is a solution moving forward. How do we fix the problems highlighted in the history books of our country? Is a flag really the way to go? Well, what a pleasure it is to be out in his part of the world for a change. Professor Dirk Kotze from Unisa, political scientist, joining us. Prof, good to have you with us, and thank you for coming through. Just a little drive for you really to get to our location for today, here at Freedom Park. When we talk about something like a flag, where do you stand on this? Many people are saying, don't hate the idea of the flag, but the timing is off, the cost is off, and government is rather tone deaf. What did you make of A, the idea originally, and then B, when the president said, cancel this thing?
Well, I think that the original idea wasn't a good idea. The idea of focusing on the flag is a good idea, but in a different form. Many parts of the world uses their flags as very much sort of symbolizing the state itself and symbolizing the people. So there is a place for the flag very much. We see it at sports events, and we see it at official events like the inauguration of the president here at the Union Buildings. Then it plays a very important role, and we've seen it more specifically in 1994. But I think now the timing is not good for that, because there are so many issues that are more pressing at this particular point in time, including issues for this very department, for the Department of Arts and Culture. Many artists, persons involved in the arts in general, are saying we were neglected during the time of the pandemic. We are struggling to get onto our feet. The same with, for example, sport. There are many opportunities within sport, from school level right up to international level in South Africa, where the flag can play a role, but it is something which also is involved with the idea of developing a national feeling, a national sort of attitude, a national symbolism, but it goes much further than simply the flag. So to make it a sort of a pet project, I would say, almost, I think for this period is not appropriate.
I'm curious to get your thoughts, Prof, of all the money that this country wastes through corruption, money laundering, Eskom, we're throwing billions and billions at SAA, Eskom, Transnet. I mean, the numbers are staggering. We talk about billions in this country like it's a packet of Smarties. 22 million rand almost doesn't seem, respectfully, like that much money. I'm curious, though, why did this particular issue around the flag upset so many people? Was it really, it seemed to hit a nerve, didn't it?
Well, first of all, it's a project that appears not to be so expensive. It should not be so expensive. It doesn't deserve to be so expensive just for one particular flag. If it is something, a national project that was across the country and involved many other people and many other institutions, that could have still been, and if there was ultimately a benefit for persons involved, if it is simply a flag standing up here, people don't see the immediate benefit for them in that, whatever the price is, whether it's 22 million, whether it's 100 million, whether it's 5 million. So I think that together with, and I think this is a very important point, is that we are now living in the era of distrust in government. of the PPE corruption, I think, shocked many people. So they will say, well, part of this 22 million will also disappear in some other direction.
It's almost become our default position as a country.
Yes.
Where is this money going to go? Is it really going to go to the flag? Who's really going to get the money
Yes.
in the end? Prof, just before I say goodbye to you, I remember when I was studying politics at the University of Johannesburg, no offense, at the University of Johannesburg, my lecturer then always spoke about a political ATM. A political ATM as in there is only so many political points, so much currency for a politician in the bank. They withdraw some, they're obviously depleting that. Some could even suggest that this was such a bad call by Minister Nathi Mthethwa, he's actually gone into overdraft because the president himself called him out on this and said, cancel this thing. To that point, he even said that the minister phoned the president and he said, no, right now I'm busy. I'll come back to you later.
Yeah.
In an ANC elective year, is Nathi Mthethwa in overdraft?
I would say so, yes. I mean, it's well known that he's not on the side of President Ramaphosa, politically speaking, within the ANC. He's seen as much more towards the KwaZulu-Natal, different groups there. And therefore, politically, within the ANC, he's in a very weak position. And I think, given the fact that he was also the Minister of Police when the Marikana massacre happened, that it is, in a sense, he's moving in any case towards the end of his political career. Unfortunately, a portfolio like arts and culture is not seen as one of the key ones in government. And therefore, to be put in this position already was at that stage the indication that he's not part of the core of the cabinet or the government anymore.
And just very, very briefly, before I say goodbye to you, I was going to sneak this in. What did you make of the comments by the president when he was speaking at the Black Business Council? Not so much what he said, how he said it. A lot of people agreed with the president to cancel this thing, but it was jovial, it was jokey, there was a lot of laughing, and some people suggesting that it felt very elitist. The president wasn't taking it seriously. Was that just badly stage managed by the president's people, or do you get the sense that actually the president thinks this is a bit of a joke?
No, I don't think he can at all afford to look at it as a joke. I mean, this is something serious in terms of the public opinion. It has become a major issue in the public opinion. And if he comes over as if he is not taking it seriously, it will be bad for him. It will be bad for his image as someone who is sincere about the current situation in South Africa. So if that was his intention, it was not a good intention. And I think... but it goes maybe back to the fact that it is Minister Mthethwa, and therefore he doesn't take him so seriously, and that's maybe the message that came through also.
Yeah, it's the optics of this that is so fascinating, isn't it, Prof? So good to have you with us in person and also just down the road from, of course, what he calls home, Unisa, of course, a political scientist, Professor Dirk Kotze joining us. Terms are on this. There's a lot to talk about when we look at the optics and the tonality of A, how we got here, and B, how it's being handled. That debate, that discussion, we could have for days. But for the moment, from here at Freedom Park, where there is no 100-meter flag, let's come back to Studio 1.
All right, well, thank you so much, Gareth. Quite a thought-provoking conversation there you had with Prof. Dirk Kotze about social cohesion, uniting the country, and the timing of this 22 million rand flag, which the Arts and Culture Department had plans to implement. We know that now they've taken it back to the department for review. We'll have to wait for a final, decision on that, even though the president did mention, as we remind you, that they should just cancel this thing. All right, with that